Hi everyone, Bob Thibodeau here, and this is your leadership training tip for today, which is January 23rd. Now, yesterday we discussed the two leadership styles, authoritative versus authoritarian. They sound similar, but they are very, very different. A great leader will develop the authoritative leadership style. I mean, they're able to lead the organization towards a common goal while managing and energizing team members at the same time. That's the definition. And this is what ignites enthusiasm and the entrepreneurial spirit in your team. Almost every great leader has developed the authoritative style of personal skills and leadership skills that will allow them to get others to do what was required in order to accomplish the job at hand and allow them to think that they were acting on their own. That's the whole thing, empowering them to believe they are acting on their own. And in one way they are, but they are always under the guidance and the watchful eye of their leader. Now, an authoritarian leader, on the other hand, is one who is a single person that takes control and makes all of the decisions with virtually little or no input from those in the group. Now, all choices are based just on the leader's own ideas. But usually with this type of leadership style, all the blame for everything that goes wrong, he diverts off to those who failed to follow his orders. And this just causes discontent among the team members. I mean, they feel their knowledge and input and being overlooked, or it's just disregarded. Soon the group fails to even try to come up with creative solutions to some of the problems that they face. Now, there are times, don't get me wrong, there are times when the leader must take charge using the authoritarian leadership style, and there's no time for any type of discussion. This is especially true in an emergency situation, and the leader has the knowledge and understanding of what needs to happen. It needs to happen now, and it has to happen in this sequence. Once the emergency is handled, the great leader will then fall back into his normal mode, the authoritative style, and then begin to ask questions of those that were involved, kind of like an after-action review. How could this have been handled differently? What are your opinions on this? How could this have been avoided? How can we do this better next time? And like I said, basically it's an after-action briefing for the group. Now, I'll explain how I used this type of leadership style successfully in my military and law enforcement careers, as well as sometimes in my insurance agency. I'll just share a few ideas on how you can develop this very useful leadership style as your own, and how to gradually introduce yourself and your team to this type of leadership style. And when you do it this way, they won't even know that it's happened. They'll just one day notice, like, wow, he's really come a long ways in his leadership style. And there's the transition from authoritarian to authoritative leadership styles will be noticed by your group. Now, if you go at it, just like, all right, folks, listen up, I'm going to change my leadership style, I'm going by, they're just going to ignore you and think you're an idiot. But so you have to do this on your own, silently, without announcing to anyone, and it'll just adapt as a process over time. It will not happen overnight. It just won't. One, you have to learn yourself, and two, your team has to learn to start to trust this new you. Now, in the military, I use this situation. I use the same method of leadership style that I just got to explain in my insurance business and in the military for problem solving. When someone would bring me a problem and they said they couldn't fix it, they didn't know what to do, the authoritarian type leader said, well, go do this, call this person right now. The authoritative leader, and this is the style that I had adopted when I was doing this, I would walk them through the problem. Okay, let's get them to identify the problem at hand. And I would do this by just asking a few leading questions. And as I'm asking these questions, suddenly you see the lights go on in their eyes. Oh, yeah, okay. Because now they've identified possibly the root problem. And at that point in time, I would then lead them in discovering the steps to solve the problem. And I would usually act like I had not even considered their idea before, and then just ask them to follow up on it, and hey, let me know if this works out. When they reported back that the problem was fixed, then I'd give them complete credit for it, for figuring it out. And usually I'd make an announcement to the group or something like, hey, private so-and-so, he had this situation in his face and he came up with this idea to fix it. And, some of the guys like, duh, but, for him, it just reinforced the fact that he was learning. All right. Now, do you think that style of leadership worked well? It worked very well. A great leader will always, every single time, give credit for the accomplishment of the mission at hand to the subordinates who did the work. Every time. A great leader will never take credit for those things themselves. Never. If you're called in to your superior, your supervisor, and he said, Bob, you did an outstanding job out there. It's always, well, sir, the guys are the ones who came up with the idea. They're the ones who implemented it. I just kind of guided them along in the process. And they understand what you're saying, that your supervisors will understand what you are saying. But it's important for you to say, that's right, sir, I'm the greatest thing that ever lived. Well, you just dropped in value in his eyes. And when the team finds out, because the walls have ears, your value will drop in their eyes as well. You always, 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 always give credit to the team. Now, at the same time, if something goes wrong, when things go wrong, a great leader will shoulder the blame for everything and protect his team from criticism. Never will a great leader assign blame. Never. It doesn't matter how bad somebody messed up and it just take, for example, a football game and the pass that would have won the game, an easy pass that was hit right on the numbers, and the guy had his arms wrapped around, but somehow the ball just popped out. He should have caught it. They don't assign blame. You don't hear the coach later coming back and say, we'd have won that game if it wouldn't have been for that jerk. No. What does the coach say? That's just one play. There are many plays during this game where, broken plays, assignments missed, any of these plays. That's called football. And that's the way a great leader should be. I made the decision on what play to call, and it didn't work out. If I'd have done something different, we may have won. So, don't blame him. That was just one play out of many, right? That's how a great leader always reacts. You protect your people at all times. All right. So the next question is, how are your personal relationship skills? In the next post, I'm going to give you a couple of tips for developing personable relationship skills with your employees and those with whom you work with or lead, even your clients, which will also increase your sales. So come back tomorrow as we continue our discussion on what makes a great leader. Till this next time, this is Bob Thibodeau saying bye for now.